Four.
We are live.
We are live. Nice.
We are live. We are finally live. Hey, everybody. I am Haley Gray. I'm the group owner in the Women's Entrepreneur Network. And I am a small business enthusiast, digital marketing expert, all those things. If you guys are on the live, give us a hashtag live. If you're on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. Tonight, we're going to be going at this a little bit differently. And I have a guest, and this is Corey Price, and he is with Fundwise. And welcome.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
This is a fun thing to do because I think that funding is probably one of the things that women business owners especially struggle with the most. There's a ton of statistics out there about women business owners, the disparities between women and men business owners. But one of the biggest, largest, most nasty disparities is actually in funding and getting money for our businesses. You know, if you are a woman business owner, good luck with getting money for your business. And there's a lot of predatory, really awful ways to do it out there that really take advantage of small business owners. And I was really excited to meet Corey because he has an amazing company, and you guys do it the right way. So, you know, and you've got a lot of choices that you can choose from that are not just your traditional SBA loans, because let's face it, SBA loans are going to want a note from your mother and your firstborn child.
Yeah. And I have a story about that a little bit in a few minutes.
Yeah. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm going to actually flip us back and forth here so that I can make you a little bit bigger so people can see you a bit better. Okay. And tell us a little bit about who you are, and welcome, and you know what it is that you guys do, and tell me your story. I'm curious about this.
Yeah, I've got a couple stories, but yeah, good to be here. So I'm a digital marketing, I wouldn't say expert, but enthusiast. I love it. And there's always new things thrown at me all the time to figure out and learn. But my background is marketing. That's my role at Fundwise Capital. We started Fundwise Capital about 5 years ago. And because we saw a big need out there, nobody really knows where to get startup funding. I'll actually explain that with my slides here in a few minutes, like who we are. And should I just get going and just start talking?
I'll let you have at it.
Okay. So I've got like a maybe 10, 15 minute presentation. You can see me there I'm on a stage in front of young entrepreneurs. This was actually like a classroom setting. These guys signed up for an e-commerce type program to learn how to launch their product and how to grow their business. So it was a really cool course, and we were able to come and talk about financing because they were trying to start and grow a business. And I asked them a question. I was like, so you're a startup. Where do you find financing? How do you fund your business? How do you buy your products? How do you pay for marketing? How do you just get off the ground? And I asked that, and the responses, pretty typical, but a little interesting, I think. One of them was government grants. That's not going to happen. And then venture capital was the other part. And venture capital, a very small percentage of entrepreneurs get venture capital. And then if you do get it, you instantly put a ceiling on yourself because you're giving up most of the equity in your business before you even get started. There is a time and a place, I think, for venture equity. There's a certain stage in a business where it can really propel you forward, but you want to make sure that you work and add the value into your business before you give it away. So I was talking about how, you know, there are better ways to find financing, and I know that startups have a really hard time finding that. So we realized this about 5 years ago when I was networking with a couple people, that there's a huge opportunity to help startups and help them get funding. So Fundwise is our company. We're a creative finance company that helps entrepreneurs to get money to start or grow a business. We've secured, it's over $300 million in funding in the last few years. I need to update that. For entrepreneurs and business owners, We have a partner program as well. We educate people on how to help others find funding. But we've got a few 100, a few 5-star, a few hundred 5-star reviews. That was a tongue twister there, a little bit of a mess. A plus, the Better Business Bureau, and things are good. So, quick story. I like stories. But a few years back, when I had a marketing company, like an SEO agency, and I was networking with some other guys, and their background was financing, and they found out and learned about how to help startups to get funding, and that's a very rare thing. Most finance companies don't help startups. If you were to go into a bank and ask for a loan just starting a business, they'll tell you where to go in a nice way, because you need 2 years of profitable tax returns. Very small percentage can get funding as they're just starting a business. You have to have a pretty good relationship with your bank. Or there's other loans out there, like you said, Haley, that will take advantage of you, charge crazy high interest rates, very short term, and it takes all of your profit away. Restaurants would have no chance at all. So a quick story is that we decided we would start a business. We'd go all in. We saw an opportunity to help entrepreneurs. We left our full-time jobs, and it was a kind of a stressful time. Entrepreneurs have stressful times. It's just how it goes, right? I had a mortgage, car bills, a family. I had to get money somehow. So we actually got a small office, and I went through our own funding program. I was able to get $64,000 in unsecured credit lines at 0% interest for a year. And that's what got us off the ground. It paid our bills. It went towards marketing. I ran some Google ads. I always want to say AdWords. So that's how long I've been doing Google ads. But wanted to ran Google ads to get leads going, and that got us off the ground. And so we're a product of the product. We went through our own funding to start and grow our business. And it helped. It catapulted us to where we needed to go to grow. And so we've helped others to do the same thing. And we just practice what we preach. Here's just a couple stories of our clients. Tara was starting a beauty salon in Denver, Colorado. She needed $70,000 to get it going. She was able to get $70,000 through us. She couldn't get it at the bank. 0% interest for about a year. She was able to get into her business and pay off all of her debt before she had to pay any interest at all. And last we heard, she was starting a second location. Soraya was starting an e-commerce business selling weighted blankets. She was told it would take months for a chance to get an SBA loan. So there was that SBA piece right there. It would take a long time if she could even get it. It's a difficult process. It takes a long time. They're great with the low percent of interest if you can get an SBA loan, but it's quite a pain to go through that process. And then she asked family if she could get money as well, and her brother turned her down. So she came to Fundwise. She was able to get financing and bought her inventory for weighted blankets. Her husband is a marketer, and so he ran ads for her, and they sold off everything, all of her inventory off the shelves right in time for Christmas. So she started about on Black Friday, sold all of their inventory in time for Christmas, had the money to pay off all their debt and do it again the next year, because she still has the credit lines to buy inventory and to sell it again. Kevin, so here's a restaurant story. We're in Utah, and he was local here in Utah. He actually came into our office, and we met with him to help him get funding. But he went to all the banks and credit unions in the valley. They declined him. Restaurants are considered higher risk to banks, and it's hard for them to get funding. He wanted to get a franchise location of Teriyaki Madness. Between him and his wife, they were able to get $120,000 to get the restaurant started. That picture is of their restaurant. We went in there and filmed a little testimonial video, and we ate there for lunch. It was really good. So just a couple of stories. We have these stories on a weekly basis. success stories of entrepreneurs that are able to start and grow their business. So funding options. What funding options do you actually have if you're starting a business? Well, there's unsecured credit lines at 0% interest for 9 to 18 months. These are credit cards, business and personal credit cards, up to 18 months at 0%. And when I say credit cards, maybe some of you will cringe a little bit, but for startup businesses, it's often the best way you can get financing. It can get you off the ground when no other option can. And term loans, you have to make that monthly payment whether you use the money or not. With the unsecured credit cards, you pay for what you actually use. So you could have money for a rainy day. If you have a bad week, a bad month, a bad COVID year, then it can help you keep going. It can help you survive and weather the storm. Also, business term loans or a line of credit based on business revenue. So if you get up and going, let's say you start off getting your business off the ground with the credit lines, then you start generating revenue, then you can take those credit lines and move them from anything out of personal over into the name of your business. And it's like the business life cycle. As you're growing, there's going to be different times when you're going to need financing to get to that next level. Also, we have an interesting program. It's a great financing program for those who are have a professional license, like doctors, dentists, clinical psychologists, attorneys, CPAs. There is funding for those individuals if they're licensed and they have some income and a decent credit score. Then they have some benefits for getting financing. They are term loans. They're pretty low interest and good terms, 3 years up to 7 years, I believe it is. So it's a really good program. And also, did you know a business owner can actually get up to $150,000 in unsecured credit cards at 0% interest for 9 to 18 months? That might be more than what you thought was possible, but we see it happen with our clients. So who is this funding for? If you're wondering, is this funding for me? It's for anyone, any entrepreneur. You don't even have to have a business. This is creative finance. It's leveraging your personal credit in order to get financing. It's actually, if you've done a good job with your credit, then you can be rewarded by actually using it to your advantage. So the funding can be for startups, small business owners, real estate investors. We've had real estate investors buy a property with 0% interest credit cards, like a whole property. We help them take the cash off their cards without the cash advance fees. There's a way to do that. And they actually purchased a property, flipped it, and sold it. E-commerce sellers buying a franchise or business opportunity, those who want business coaching or consulting. So there are a lot of people who they don't have the time to go through college or a tech program, but there are courses out there that teach you a valuable skill where you can then get a job after you go through that course. It could be 7, 8, 9, 10-week course kind of thing. And so financing can be available to get into a course like that. Restaurant owners, anyone needing marketing, we use our funding for marketing and our personal bills to get our business off the ground. Any other business or entrepreneur-related activities, and licensed professionals as well. And that's been a great program. So there's over 500,000 businesses started every month in the United States, according to Forbes and Entrepreneur.com. That is a lot of businesses, 500,000. And most business owners need some kind of financing. A lot of businesses now can do it with less because you can be working at home in front of a computer and just go and bootstrap it. So that's awesome. It's good to have some funding if needed. And if you're going to need to travel, if you need to do some marketing, if you need to buy, a funnel builder platform, all the different tools that entrepreneurs use these days, and there's so many of them. So how do you qualify for the funding? What are the requirements? There's it says 2 options. There's 3 on here because I added the professional financing because it's been a great program. It's a newer program. But requirements, startup funding, 650 or higher credit score. There's a little bit more to it than that. We do the underwriting, and there's a lot of factors that we go through, but we want to keep it really simple for you. 650 or higher credit score. For business funding, if you're looking for like a line of credit or a business term loan in the name of your business, you're looking at $15,000 a month in sales on average for the last 6 months with at least a 600 or higher credit score. Professional financing, 670 or higher credit score. They need to be licensed and 75,000 in income per year. So how does it work? The application process is easy. One of the most common questions that we get is, I don't want it to affect my credit, or does it affect my credit? To get a pre-approval to just find out what your options are, it's a soft pull. It doesn't affect your credit at all. So I'll show you what the form looks like, what the landing page looks like. It's really important to not add an inquiry if you're applying for funding, because when you add inquiries, it hurts the potential amount that you can get. So I'm going to click on this landing page right here. This is what the landing page looks like. You click on the button. It takes like 60 seconds. I'll do a test lead right here just to show you. So let's say you want 50,000. How's your credit? Let's say 680 to 720. Bankruptcy in the last 5 years? No. When did you start your business? I'm going to put I haven't started yet. And then I'm going to put test lead so our team doesn't call a fake lead. That'll save them a little bit of time. Put in my phone number right here. And then continue. So we get a birth date and a street address, because that's how we actually get a credit report. This is just a fake address, just if you're curious if I was putting in my real one or not. Continue. Great, you're almost done. Your credit score will not be affected, but we'll get a credit report from Experian to underwrite and see what your options are. So our goal and our motto is to get the best funding that you can qualify for. That's what we do. We do creative financing, not the crazy loans that are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% interest, 9-month type loans, super expensive. The goal is to get the best funding that you can possibly qualify for. But sometimes maybe that expensive loan is the only option, but we would not do a loan like that unless the numbers made sense, if it actually helped the business. If there's a restaurant that came through, their credit was not great, the only option they had was to get a really expensive short-term loan, it would not make sense, because restaurant margins are often as little as 10%. And if you're paying a higher percentage than that, then that's the nail in the coffin for that restaurant. So we crunch the numbers, make sure that they make sense, that they're good for the business owner. And this is all unsecured financing. So if something does happen, the entrepreneur is not going to lose anything. It's going to hurt their credit. They're not going to lose a home, a car, or anything like that. So it's all unsecured financing.
Right.
So
and,
after, oh, sorry.
And I'm just going to say how important this is. I've owned other businesses and done other things, and, just how important this can be. Just having a credit line can make a big difference.
Right. It can save you. One of the top reasons why businesses go out of business is lack of capital, lack of working capital. Mm-hmm. If they would have just had a little bit more to get through, and that could have been their moment, So after submitting that form, you saw how quickly it was. It's really easy, short little form. You don't have to share a social security number or anything like that. We underwrite, and then if there's funding options available, then we call you up, set up an appointment, and go through the funding options with you over the phone. Everything that we do, all the steps, what to expect, and then it's up to you if you want to move forward or not. So it's just an information session. This is what you've got available. We may add a little advice on, I would recommend this or doing this. But that's it. And it's up to you if you want to move forward with the funding or not. And then after that, if you decide to move forward, then we have a funding manager that holds your hand through the process and does the funding and gets you the funding that you're looking for. But what if your credit is below 650? So it's in the last, since March 2020, I would say, we've seen the effects of business owners. It's been difficult for so many people to go through some rough months. And so a lot of people have had damaged credit. They've been affected and they've done the best that they could, but there's issues that they just didn't have enough cash flow to make payments on time or whatever the reason is. So what if your credit's below 650? What do you do? Now, there's 3 reasons why their funding your credit might not qualify. Bad credit, so derogatories on your credit. No credit history. So if you don't have history on your credit, then the funding won't work. Maxed out.
Oops. You blipped out on me for just a second. I'm hoping it's on my side and not on yours.
Credit cards. So if you're maxed, it could be my side. Am I back again?
Yep, you're back.
Okay. Sorry about that. It could have been mine. It's been a little glitchy today. So yeah, 3 reasons why people don't qualify for funding. Maxed out credit cards, that one. If someone qualifies for a personal term loan, then we can help get those maxed out cards paid down and then go through the funding process. So there's a couple options there, but with that, it needs to be fixed. And we do have a solution for that. We have a sister company called Scorbly, created by a finance company who knows that when you need money, you need it quick. And also it's very affordable. So cleaning up your credit in 30 to 90 days for $79 a month. And what happens there, why it's different, is some credit repair companies take their time to make more money so that your monthly payments go on and not a lot happens. In this case, the goal is to get you through the funding process, to get your credit fixed quick. We don't make money on $79 a month because that's really cheap. And it also includes credit monitoring and all that stuff. So the goal is to get your credit fixed quick and get you through the funding process when your credit's ready. So that is an option if the credit's bad. And how this works is you'd apply for funding. If you don't currently qualify, you would receive an email with an option to sign up for Scorbly if you want. Of course, it's up to you. Totally don't have to do it, but it's there if you want to get your credit fixed. And then you go through funding when your credit's fixed. So that's my whole presentation right there. Hopefully I shared something that you didn't know before for those out there who wanted to know more about funding. But if you want to get a quote, then there's no risk to seeing what options you have. Even if you think you won't qualify, you could find out if you don't, or if you do. apply.fundwise.com/WEN. That stands for Women's Entrepreneur Network. And if you do have below 650 credit and you won't qualify for funding, then you could go to this link right here. It's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/WEN repair. And that's it. Yeah. I don't know if you do.
I've got a couple of people commenting over on my personal profile because we're broadcasting in a couple of different places, and they're just like, wow, that's pretty amazing. It's cool to have the opportunity to work with somebody who's, pretty transparent about what you're doing. Not just pretty transparent, absolutely transparent, like your credit score needs to be this, and, you need to meet these requirements before you even apply. And if you don't, then here's how you get there. It's hugely important. And I found that little bit of extra cash in businesses can make all the difference between success and failure. Because, as much as we like to think that, business is a nice, smooth trajectory, it rarely is. And you've got huge ups and downs and sideways and everything else going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've gone through those same things in our business. It's not a hockey stick. It's not an S curve even. A lot of people talk about the S curve, right? You actually take a dip lower than you were before you go higher to the next level. And we totally experience that. And what can mitigate the difficulty of that downswing before you go to the next level is financing to help you through. Because at some point you're going to have to upgrade your CRM, maybe have a dev team. You're going to have to hire a team of support. You're going to have to hire maybe C-level executives and move on to that next level of, okay, now I have managers to manage these teams. Whatever step that is, it's going to require a significant amount of capital to push into that next level in your business, that next level of profitability, because you can't do everything. And a lot of you probably do everything, but there comes a point when you only should focus on what you're good at in your business, what you do well, and let other people do their part to grow your business. There's just not enough time in the day.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't emphasize how important this is. Having worked with small business owners, doing consulting that have gone through the SBA process, having applied for the SBA process myself in my previous business, having, made the mistake of going through a cabbage loan and paying like 35% annual interest rate. Seeing what factoring can do to a small business. This is by far the best option for extra, cash buffer, credit for your business. It's huge.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, you should.
Yeah. And you've probably heard of this saying before, when you need the money, you probably won't be able to get it. So if you could get it right now, you'll need it later. It's a good idea to have that available when you can qualify for it. If you're racking up those credit cards to get your business through, then it's going to be harder and harder to get funding as you max out those credit cards. So we do help people get personal term loans to pay down credit cards so they can qualify. There's also another option. With a personal term loan, you do have to show W-2 income of $60,000 a year or 40% DTI or less, debt to income ratio, and then have a 650 or higher credit score. Some people don't have the income there. So we do have private investors that will do like a bridge loan to pay down those maxed out credit cards. It's a short-term loan so that it can get someone in where they can qualify for the financing.
That's really cool. That, it sounds like you guys have put a lot of thought into it and a lot of creativity into these solutions, which people really need.
Yeah, they really do. And there's a lot of moving pieces. When sometimes we talk about credit cards, helping people get credit cards, they'll say, well, why can't I just go get my own credit cards and apply by myself? And they can. It's like representing yourself in court. You can do it. It's fine. But there's a lot to it on getting more money. If you've got, say, a 700 credit score, you might get 2 credit cards, and then your next time that you apply, you'll probably be declined because you just added 2 inquiries on your credit. Whereas if you know which credit bureaus lenders report to, what part of the country you're in, how to apply, there's a lot to it. So that's where we come in. That's our secret sauce. We help people get a lot more money than they can get on their own.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Having somebody who knows what they're doing and can navigate you through it. Wish you guys had been around a couple of years ago for me.
Yeah, I wish we knew you a couple of years ago to be there. I mean, we hear that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, guys. If you haven't applied yet, it's a soft pull. It doesn't affect your credit score, so do it.
Yeah. You don't have to get the funding either. You can just apply just to see what your options are.
Yeah, that's a cool option. You can see what you're going to get. Very cool. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Corey.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.